Brad Williams, Frugal Finance Mortgage. Mortgage-related costs. What fees or charges are paid when closing on a mortgage, and who pays them? It's a great question. Keep in mind, if you're a first-time home buyer, everything is negotiable. Try to pass on the fees to the seller, depending on what type of market it is. If it's a seller's market, you may have a tough time negotiating that. But if it's a buyer's market, perhaps you have some negotiating leverage. When you're buying a home, you generally pay all the costs associated with the transaction. However, depending on the contract or state law, the seller may end up paying for some of these costs. Even if you don't pay the mortgage closing fees directly out of pocket, you might end up paying them indirectly. Sometimes you can negotiate with the seller for a credit towards your closing costs, but the seller will usually require you to pay a higher price for the home in order to cover the costs of the credit. You're still paying for these costs. They're just paid through your loan instead of paid out of pocket. That gets really expensive. Consider 360 payments. Let's say the seller bumped up the price of the house by $5,000. Well, $5,000 times 6% over 30 years is a lot of money. That's expensive. Think twice before you do something like that. Don't increase the price of the house. Force the seller to pay that via credit. Otherwise, find another house. The lender may also offer to give you a credit to help with your closing costs. Here's a suggestion, and it doesn't hurt to ask. A buy down. Get that seller to a 5-year buy down. Have them pay 2% or what have you towards the closing costs. It'll be about $5,000 out of their pocket, depending on the size of the loan. But why not ask? If you have questions regarding a buy down, check out my videos on how that works. This credit isn't free either. Typically, the lender will either increase your loan amount to cover these costs or charge you a higher interest rate in exchange for the credit. Common closing fees or charges may include appraisal fee, tax service provider fees, title insurance, government taxes, prepaid expenses such as property taxes, homeowners insurance, and interest until your first payment is due. Tips: you can get a detailed explanation of all the fees, charges, or other costs associated with your loan by checking out Your Home Loan Toolkits. This article will be posted below. Comments on what you've been able to negotiate as a buyer. Were you successful? Pass on any tips. Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps you soon.